know you've heard it before that a research was carried out and it was discovered that the average person touches his phone about 2,617 times on a daily basis. But guess what? That was for the average person. I think the average young person doesn't fall into that category. And there's data to prove that the average heavy user, most of whom are young people, touch their phones 5,400 times daily. And that's bad enough. But here's the part a lot of people do not know. Every time you're distracted from something due to touching your phone, it takes you about 20 minutes to get back to that mode of concentration. Now, that's where the trouble is, because if you're successfully distracted from any task, maybe like reading a book or focusing at work, if that happens 50 times in one day, altogether, that means you've lost 8 hours of work in 1 week. 8 hours of work. And also it comes to about 400 hours of work per year. That's about 2 months, close to 2 months of work, 11 weeks, okay? What am I saying 2 months? Close to 3 months of work. Just imagine 3 months out of your year gone due to distraction. And mind you, this is for people who only get interrupted 50 times per day. I'm sure the average person, a heavy user, gets distracted more times. So it's just those little things and the cumulative effect that I'm drawing your attention to. You need to see this as a serious issue as it is. Even now, subconsciously, you're struggling. Your mind is trying to tell you, should I swipe up? Should I move to the next video? Because listen, every time you see a video like this that can change your life, in split seconds, subconsciously, your mind is making a decision. Should I move to something easier? I know you feel caught, but don't worry. That's why you're here. We're going to try to fix that for you. Okay? So the title of the video is How to Rewire Your Brain. And I know that you came into the year 2026 with a lot of, vim, a lot of determination. This is one thing that you must master, because I know some of you, if you're honest enough, this is what happens every day. At the end of the day, you're dissatisfied. I didn't achieve my goals. I said I was going to work and read, and I didn't do much of that. So tomorrow, I'm going to go harder. Then tomorrow comes and you don't do it. And you're dissatisfied, and at the end of the day, you say, why? You beat yourself up about it. Then you say, tomorrow I'm going to go harder. So, but you just can't help it. Every time you're trying to read, then that notification comes up on your phone, and then you just want to check it. Before you know it, you're doom scrolling, and then hours are gone. Okay? This is what a lot of people deal with. And to explain what is happening, your brain has been trained to look for quick, easy ways to be satisfied. All right? You've trained your brain unintentionally so. You see, initially, or what God did by design, was to create this system, this brain response system, as a self-preservation mechanism. Okay, but it has now been abused, and this is what I mean. The dopamine release is God's way of rewarding us for doing meaningful work. It's our brain getting used to rewarding us for doing things that are meaningful. And so when we channel it the right way, that's how we can change our lives and change the world. But you see, the moment we get used to getting satisfaction from things easier and faster, let me use real life examples. So you feel hungry, you go into the kitchen, you prepare a dish, you eat, and you're satisfied. Dopamine is now looking for fast food. Easier, quicker ways to get the satisfaction. Okay, that's what dopamine does. And then contrary to popular opinion, many people think that dopamine is a reward chemical. That would have been better. Dopamine is actually an expectation chemical. So when you're doing something that is supposed to give you a reward, all right, that's when the dopamine spikes. And that's what makes it dangerous, because you're always looking for the next thing that can give you that high. All right, it's an addiction like any other addiction. It's terrible. It has grounded destinies. You need to fight for this. Fight for your sanity. Like your life, depends on it. And the good news is this: if you train your brain to be distracted, you can actually train your brain to be focused. In neuroscience, it's called neuroplasticity. So picture it this way: the brain is like a wet clay. You out of it you form, let's say, a cup, but then you change your mind, you want to form something else. You can roll it back into a ball and form something else. So this is something that you must bear in mind. You have the ability to re-engineer your brain, to teach your brain how to think and how to function, to teach your brain how to stop craving things that can damage your future. And that responsibility is actually right there in your mind. I'll tell you a story, a real life story. I had the opportunity to take my kids to Dubai. And one of the places we visited is called the Museum of the Future. And the Museum of the Future is just like a simulation of what maybe the next 10 years they're about to look like. I mean, the first thing I saw when I got in there, to the left of the building, I think is still there. If you ever get the opportunity to go there, or if you've gone there was a coffee shop. All right. But there was nobody attending to the coffee shop. It was a robotic hand serving coffee. So you use your phone, you scan a barcode, you make your order, and then when your order is ready, the robotic hand will come, do the mixing, and serve you your coffee. I was blown away. All right. And then you're just moving into the building. I mean, the building itself looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. And then in the building, you have drones moving up and down, and then everything is just robotic. And they also try to simulate, I'm headed somewhere, they also try to simulate the fact that in the future we'll be able to take trips out of space. So they did that, I think, with a lift or something. So as it's going up, there were screens around to show you, it looked like we had gone out of the earth, and then on the screen, on the floor, we could see what the earth would look like underneath us. I'm headed somewhere. We saw a lot of fantastic futuristic things. But then we went to a room, and it was a nature room, something like that. All we saw there was sand. All we saw there was rocks and things like that. And this is what they're trying to tell you. A time is going to come that even if AI and robotics is going to make the world a lot easier, people are going to begin to miss and crave just nature. People are going to need to detox because their minds are going to be so damaged, they will start running back to sanity. See, we're dealing with an all-time high when it comes to depression and all of this. And it can be attributed to one thing. We have learned to use technology as a mode of escape. And I'm saying that intentionally. In psychology, it's actually an escape mechanism